We're going to start with an opening remark from Chris Leach before taking questions. Chris, you have the mic.
Thanks, Jake. Thank you all for being here. We couldn't be more excited to have Jeremy join our team. Jeremy is a young MLS proven goal scorer that was a very attractive target during this transfer window. We feel like he can make an immediate impact to this organization. He's also a young man with high character that we feel like will be a good fit within our locker room and in our community. I'd like to thank our organization and our team, our executive team, our ownership group, Matthias, and the technical staff for investing in this process and for making this possible.
All right. Thank you very much, Chris. For the Q&A portion, once called on, please unmute your microphone, introduce yourself, and state who the question is for before asking your question. We can begin with Jamin Moore.
Hi, Chris. Hi, Jeremy. Jeremy, welcome to the San Jose Earthquakes, and thank you for taking the time today. My question is really about, this point in your career. Why the San Jose Earthquakes? How long, has this been a process for you personally? And what do you see as really the growth that you need to go through for the next phase of your career in order to attain the goals you'd like to see here in San Jose and potentially even beyond? Thank you.
Yeah, I think San Jose is a really interesting project. Since Matthias came at the helm, we've seen the budding of the group, and I believe that I have some qualities that hopefully will gel really well with the rest of the guys. I've already been here for one session, and the energy is really positive. It's exactly what I sense from the outside, a really motivated and united group that's always working towards that one goal, that's always relentless in the way that they play. And I have a lot to learn from the guys that are already here, as well as bring what I can to the table. I think I'm at a pretty pivotal stage in my career where I've spent the last 3 years getting to know different positions, getting to play in different systems, getting to play under a couple of different coaches as well. But now I think it's important that I work really hard in refining myself in one of those positions. And that's a philosophy that the organization shares as well. So I'm really excited to see what I can do with this responsibility and the trust that's placed in me.
Thank you, Jeremy. Next question comes from Alex Morgan.
Hi, Jeremy. This is Alex Morgan from Quakes Epicenter. Welcome to San Jose. My question for you is what the last couple of days have been like, how this deal was sort of put together, when you first made contact with the Quakes and, the sort of, from what seems like the outside, kind of a whirlwind process and announcing the signing, having you down already in San Jose. Possibly even to, I don't know what the timeline looks like for you, maybe even being able to play as early as this weekend.
Yeah, the process went by really quick. I'm a younger player who obviously spent the early part of my career in Portland for 4.5 to 5 years. So it was pretty unfamiliar to me in how it all went down. But from the first minute, San Jose was invested in me. Once we were able to have conversations, I was able to speak to Chris, I was able to speak to Matthias, and it was clear that there was a vision for me to step into when I did get here. And since then, it's just been about trying to pack up as quickly as possible and get down here ready to go, because I'm ready to start this next chapter. And, you could seek more days in your previous city to close out some other, loose ends or matters that you need to. But at the same time, you want to hit the ground running and you don't want to lose the momentum. And for me as a player, I've played in several games in the last month and started to build some sort of rhythm. And I think that that's going to be really important in order to adapt to the style of play here, the physical demands, the tactical demands, and I'm looking forward to that.
Thank you, Jeremy. Next question comes from Carlos Ramirez.
Hi, Jeremy. Hi, Chris. Welcome, Jeremy, to San Jose. I want to start with you, Chris. Why you talked about the qualities of Jeremy and why you were interested in him as a player, but what beyond him made the Quakes search for a striker with his qualities right now? We haven't seen movements like this from the Quakes in years. Why was this the right time to pull the trigger with Jeremy?
Well, I think Jeremy was almost an obvious one, right? I mean, I think as an organization, to any organization, bringing young, up and coming players that are also proven, is very attractive. So Jeremy's profile, the fact that he can play the number 9 position, that he's been involved in the various national teams in his young career, the fact that every time he steps on the field, you can tell the difference he makes. For those reasons and many more, that made sense for us from a timing perspective. Constantly trying to get better as an organization, trying to improve what we do on the field, and we felt collectively that Jeremy can do just that.
Thank you, Chris. Next question comes from Jonathan Siegel.
Hi, Chris. This is Jonathan Siegel from MLSsoccer.com. Thanks for taking the time. I caught this a little bit later, so apologies if I'm doubling up, but do we know when Jeremy would be available, aka this weekend, and maybe a little bit more in depth being just how much of this was looking at a proven MLS commodity? Because I think it's fair to say objectively, San Jose has had some moves outside of the league that maybe haven't panned out, but there's some logic to the idea that, hey, this is a guy that's proven it here in the league. Maybe it's a little bit more of a known thing.
Jonathan, first, we hope he's available and expect him to be eligible for Sunday. I see no reason why he wouldn't. In the second one, look, I think, you want to go after players that you have a good sense that can help the organization now. And I think collectively there were a few question marks around Jeremy. We feel very strongly that on day one he's going to be able to help this team. He's going to help us score goals. He's going to help us in the build-up. He's a leader both on and off the field. As I say, there's a lot of reasons why we feel really good about Jeremy and how he's going to contribute to our success now.
And just one follow-up for Jeremy, if I may. Jeremy, when you look at the other pieces here in San Jose, whether it's Wando, Cade Cowell, Christian Espinoza, et cetera, what's your perspective on joining this attack, and how do you envision yourself fitting alongside those pieces?
Yeah, ultimately, I think I'll be judged by the goals that I score. I think that I have a lot more to offer than just goals, and that's going to be about creating partnerships across the field, whether it's even with the center backs, understanding their cues on how they move the ball forward, the holding mids, and the wingers eventually as well. Goals aside, I see wingers that like to go at players 1v1, that are always engaging back lines. And when you see that, and when you see a back line receding, that creates opportunity for a striker. So based on that, it's finding the right spaces so that I'm doing my part to unbalance the back line as someone else maybe has the ball. And if I'm the one with the ball, it's understanding how to get the ball into the winger's feet or in space so that, again, they can leverage that space and either get a shot off or get the ball back in the box. So I see a lot of pieces, not only in the wide areas, but across the field, and training today only reiterate what I saw. I was obviously able to watch the game against Portland as well. Portland's never an easy place to play for an opponent. I know that first and foremost with the teams that we've hosted in the past, and San Jose went at it. So I'm looking forward to adding to the team and learning from the guys.
Thank you, Jeremy. Next question comes from Marko Ukolovic.
Hi, Jeremy. Marko Ukolovic, Sports Radio Service. Welcome to San Jose. And one thing I want to ask you is that it seems like you got Cade Cowell to be playing with. How excited are you to be playing with someone as talented and as young as he is? Seems like you guys are going to form a kind of a power duo there up front for Almeida. And also, how do you like Almeida's system that you're going to be playing in pretty soon? Thank you.
Yeah, I think Cade's an interesting player. Obviously, he's made huge strides in the last few months, and I was able to share some moments with him in January camp with the national team. So I'm excited to link up with him as well as other guys. And, when I look at the speed on the wings, I think that's something that complements me really well. It doesn't force me to be the guy that's always getting in behind all across the field. It allows me to pick my spaces a little bit better and to be a resource for those guys when they need me to come to, or to be on the end of an attacking move when I trust them and when they're able to execute on a 1v1 out wide. As far as Matthias' system, I'm getting to know it more and more, but what I recognize and what I need to be extremely mindful of is the intensity first and foremost. You can't execute on anything out there unless you start with the intensity, and then there's just attention to detail. It's the crispness of your passes, the counter movements to unbalanced defenses, all these little things that go into the greater game plan that, as I said, today was only my first day, but that I'm continuing to learn on the fly, and I'm just trying to take in as much information as possible so that I am ready for whether it's Sunday or as soon as I'm trusted to step onto the field.
Thank you, Jeremy. Next question from Jamin Moore.
Hi, Chris. Two-part question for you, Jamin Moore from Quicks Epicenter. First, is this Jeremy, it's been talked about, would like to come in and really kind of focus on playing striker. From your perspective, bringing him in, with that in mind, is this a statement of intent by the club also to focus Cade Cowell on developing as a winger going forward in order to take advantage of both players' skill sets, number one? Number two, can you talk about the GAM around this particular deal? Some of it is in 2022, some of it's in 2023, and exactly how you needed to approach that with ownership in order to secure that, given that you're not currently the permanent general manager at this time, although we understand you're a candidate. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Jamin. I'll try to answer both questions. First, Jeremy has shown the ability to play multiple positions in his young career so far. I'll just say this. We also very much think Jeremy can be a starting nine in this league. He has proven that. As far as where he plays, if he plays, those decisions will be with Matthias, obviously, and the staff, as well as with Jeremy. However, we did make this move thinking that Jeremy would be able to help those players around him, be it a Cade Cowell or Christian Espinoza or Chofis or whomever, along, especially the attacking corps of players. As far as the GAM is concerned, let me know if, what you want to know specifically about it. But I think your question was regarding ownership and how was that commitment made, knowing that for the club, this is kind of a transitional period. What I would say to that is, a very smart man recently once told me that the present is the future. And so by that, we made this decision thinking that Jeremy would help improve this team today and into the future, which is commensurate to his longer-term contract.
Thank you, Chris. We're going to be taking two more questions, starting with Alex Morgan.
Thanks for taking another question, guys. I have one for Chris, which is that I'm wondering, how you sort of approached this summer transfer window after Jesse's departure, whether a number 9 was something that you immediately identified as an area of need for this team. And then briefly, maybe as well, if you could talk about Florian Youngworth's departure and whether, the GAM from that deal is going directly into, funding this move to sign Jeremy, and if that was sort of one of the pieces that had to move to put this all together.
Okay, sure. I'll start with the latter part and then attack the former. So I'll do it in the, reverse order. From the Florian deal perspective, just like to say, appreciate Flo's contribution to the organization. He's been here an awful long time, since 2017, has contributed to this organization, has showed a lot of passion, and we wish him, the best of luck moving forward. I think it's a win-win situation for him as well as for us. As far as having the two deals connected, they weren't. It wasn't a one-for-one type thing. However, I will say it does fit into our go-forward strategy of understanding the business part of the sport, knowing that we want to pick up younger assets that have a market trajectory that are on the rise. And so we feel like, Jeremy fits the bill from an inward perspective. As far as how we approached this window, I'll just be honest with you on this part of it. It wasn't the ideal approach, right? Obviously, I came right in, and I'd say the best word to describe it is kind of grinded from day one until getting this deal over the line. We had a lot of help from Matthias and his technical team investing in this process, identifying the need of this current team as being potentially a number 9 and an attacking player. Within that, as we looked at the profiles within the league, considering that we had salary cap restrictions as well as kind of overall roster restrictions from an international spot perspective, we centered or called the list of prospects we were looking at. And Jeremy, I'll be honest, was at the top of our list. And so my focus from then forward was in collaboration with Portland, with Jeremy, with his agent, and especially with Matthias, trying to get this over the line. I'll reiterate, I don't think Jeremy's here without the investment of Matthias Almeida and Jeremy, getting to know each other, making sure that the project and the vision that Matthias and this organization has also matched with the vision that Jeremy wanted to be a part of.
Thank you, Chris. One final question from Carlos Ramirez.
Hi, Jeremy. Again, welcome to San Jose. How did your game grow under Gianni Savarese, coach I know very well, being from Venezuela, how he came up with this league and how he's grown as a head coach? What will your memories be of Gianni, and what do you expect your game to grow? Where would you like it to grow under Matthias, and what was your first impression of Coach Almeida?
Yeah, I mean, I have fond memories of Gio and his staff in Portland. Of course, when you spend that much time in the club and city, you go through moments with MLS's back and even the MLS Cup final that we didn't get done. When I look at my growth trajectory in Portland, it was about learning how to win, whether it was learning how to win individual duels in games and learning how to win a mental battle, perhaps, to learning actually how to close out a game or how to score by any means necessary. I think coming in, I was very concerned about how things looked, always getting off a clean shot or making the right move before shooting or trying to find the perfect angle. And I realized that the game goes by a lot quicker than it did, and even in college or in academy. And from that point, it was about being a little scrappier, knowing that a goal scored on the 6-yard line where you're heading through a couple guys is the same as a 40-yard banger, and taking pride in the so-called uglier goals, the tap-ins, whatever they might be, is something that I've really developed, and it's something that I'm going to continue to focus on here. I think now it's about being even more decisive. I think through the freedom that I was given in Portland, I had to problem solve a lot, but sometimes that problem solving was a little bit indecisive. Being across multiple different positions on a regular basis as well might have led to different visions of the game and attacking it from a different angle. But now I know my job is to score. I know my job is to be a focal point of an attack when I'm on the field in the central area. And I need to make sure that I take that responsibility as seriously as possible and be decisive in those final moments, whether it's the movement to clear space out for someone else to make that final shot or pass, or whether it's me to get to the right spot, me to make that final goal. And I need to show some maturity as well. We're talking about someone who's been around the league a good amount of time. I need to understand that, yes, I'm learning the system on a regular basis, but through that, I have to do that in a mature fashion, one that continues to elevate the game of San Jose that's already been continuing to grow throughout these last 18 months. And overall impressions is super positive. It's a very familial aspect, but when you get to training, it's intense. There isn't moment's break in training, and it's something that's really going to improve my game, and I'm looking forward to it.